So here's the thing. Anime. It can be absolutely bonkers in its premise. You want a series about body cells trying to keep a human alive? Check. You want a series about a dragon becoming human mate? Check. You want a series about visiting brothels to do the deed with other humanoid series that's not a hentai? Well, check. And you know, as absurd as the premise for some of these series are, they can be pretty good. Okay, I don't know about the last one because I've never seen it, so... Uma Musume literally translates to horse girl. What's it about? Well, horse girls. To be more specific, it's about famous racing horses being reincarnated as horse girls in a different world, where they can continue the race to the heart's content. And the race winner gets to have an idol performance or something. Look, it's a weird series, okay? Despite its absurd premise, the first season had a decent score of 7.3 on my anime list. Okay, it's not the best indicator of how good the anime series is, but you know, whatever. The second season, which primarily focused on the same cast of characters as the first season, but focused on a different protagonist, was even more well received with a score of 8.02. The second season in particular was a near masterpiece, and in my opinion, is one of my top 10 favorite anime series of all time, if not the top 5. Now, after rewatching the series recently, I realized that both had quite similar story beats to it. The main protagonist has goals, they face hardships along the way, and eventually get a crack at achieving their dreams. Yet somehow, Season 2 resonated far more with viewers and myself as well. Thinking about things more, I realized that it boils down to one simple reason. Season 2 had a far clearer focus on the protagonist than Season 1. In this video, I want to go over some examples of how having a character-driven story can elevate an average series into a masterpiece. Since both seasons of Uma Musume has been out for a while now, I will dive into spoiler territory to cover some of my discussion points in greater detail. So, spoilers. You have been warned. Now, before I go into the main topic of this video, I think it's important to talk about what both seasons 1 and 2 are about. In season 1, our main character is Special Week. Yes, that is her name. Welcome to the world of horse racing. Special Week is a transfer student from Hokkaido, whose goal is to become the best horse girl in Japan, in order to live up to her biological mother's dying wish, and to repay all the effort which her foster mother put in to help her grant that wish. Special Week is unique compared to many of the other horse girls that attend their school, Traken Academy, as she was brought up in a rural area without ever having interacted with any other horse girls before. As such, Special Week serves as a vessel for us to learn more about the world of Uma Musume, from getting familiar with other notable horse girls in the school, the way the school works in terms of day-to-day life and training facilities, the mechanics of races, among others. When Special Week first arrives in Tokyo, she witnesses Silent Suzuka winning a race easily, and becomes inspired by her. She then ends up joining the same team as Suzuka, and also ends up being roommates. Both of them develop close bonds with each other, which eventually becomes a driving force in the series. Season 2 opens with a young version of our new main character, Tokai Teo, who had joined Team Speaker midway through Season 1. Teo witnesses Symboli Rudolph, the student council president, win her Triple Crown undefeated. Teo then makes a goal for herself to become like Rudolph and win the Triple Crown undefeated when she grows older. In the present day, we see her aiming to achieve this goal, and also develop a close friendship and rivalry with Meijiro McQueen, who will also be a source of inspiration throughout the series. So based on the summary of both seasons, we can see that there are quite a few similarities. Both girls have goals to achieve. For Special Week is being the best horse girl in Japan, and for Teo is for achieving her undefeated Triple Crown dream. Both also have a close friend that motivates them, Silent Suzuka for Special Week, and Meijiro McQueen for Tokai Teo. So how is Season 2 so much better? Well, let's first look at issues with Season 1. Firstly, Special Week's goal is ultimately somewhat vague. In particular, what does it mean to be the best? The series actually addresses as several girls were asked the same question. Unfortunately, they all gave different answers. Special Week herself was never really able to answer this question for most of the series, and when she finally did, it was based on Silent Suzuka's own goal. The weak definition of what it means to be the best resulted in Special Week's story being somewhat goalless. For example, why would we care about whether Special Week wins or loses if the outcome of a particular race has no consequences on her achieving her dreams? This resulted in Special Week not having any personal connection or need to win majority of the races, which lowers the stakes. Despite losing many races, she does eventually end up with a chance to race against one of the strongest horse girls in the world, which gives her a chance to be known as one of the best if she wins. But with how aimlessly her goal has been for most of the series, and that she was far from a dominating figure on the racing scene, the certain opportunity felt unearned and undeserving. Given that the racing aspect of the anime series is a major source of entertainment and drama, having most of the races feel pointless made many scenes feel forgettable. Another issue is that the conflicts that Special Week faced are often a result of her own doing, be it her naivety, lack of knowledge of how to improve her technique, or letting external issues which are easily resolved get in the way of her preparations. By having most of her obstacles be her own doing, along with her uneven racing performance, I can help but feel that other horse girls would be even more successful if they had received the same opportunities that Special Week did. This made many of the drama which Special Week faced feel forced and frustrating to watch. Furthermore, the rivalries which Special Week had were more of a result of others challenging her for some strange reason, such as El Condor Pasa, despite having a far better track record. This further adds to the feeling that each race is devoid of real stakes. Now, these criticisms of the story surrounding Special Week is not necessarily saying that Special Week herself does not work as a main character. On the contrary, her clumsiness, naivety, and enormous appetite makes her a fun and endearing character. And us witnessing her experiencing the world Uma Musume for the first time is a great way to introduce us to that world as well. The slice of life moments and the chemistry with Suzuka and the rest of the team, Team Speaker, is undoubtedly the heart of this season, and I doubt that the first season will have been as successful without her. That being said, the restrictions that her character and the backstory brings to the races ultimately help Season 1 back from being an all-time great series. Season 2 bravely showcased the difference in direction that it takes compared to Season 1 by focusing solely on Teo throughout the majority of the first episode. We see her training with determination to win the Nippon Derby race, which is the second of the 3 races she needs to win to get the Triple Crown. She easily wins the race towards the end of the episode, cue a badass idol rock performance, and the episode title card drops, which simply says Tokai Teo. This title card alone enforces the fact that the story is not about building the world of Uma Musume through our protagonist's eyes, like with Special Week in Season 1. This season is all about Tokai Teo. Now, while things may seem light-hearted and fun in the first episode, Episode 2 slaps us in the face with a huge dose of reality. It does not matter how motivated or talented you are, if luck does not roll your way, you may not be able to achieve your dreams. This idea cruelly manifests itself when we learn that Teo suffered a leg fracture during the previous race, which puts Teo's chances of even running in the Kikasho in jeopardy, let alone win it. While Teo and her friends try whatever they could do to get her into shape to run the race, ultimately Teo's own body fails her. She ends up having to make the correct, but difficult and heartbreaking decision to pull out from the race. However, she decided to watch the race in person, and found inspiration by all the other horse girls who wanted to show the world that they would have won even if Teo had raced. This results in Teo finding new goals to aim toward, and to become as good, if not better, than she was before her injury. Now, Episode 1 may have shown us who the series is about, but Episode 2 is the one that established the emotional rollercoaster ride that we are about to embark for the remaining 11 episodes of this series. Now, unlike Special Week, whose conflicts are often of her own doing, Teo encounters a multitude of problems outside her control, which makes her battle to regain the glory she once had that much more immersive and captivating. Every race that Teo runs in was of her own choosing, her own drive to prove to herself that she can get back to where she was before her injury, which brings gravitas and urgency to every race. Teo has to win these races to restore her own self-belief and drive to go through the daily rigors of training and rehabbing from injury. This is no longer just an anime about exploring a world where horse girls exist. but rather a human tale exploring a relatable protagonist undergoing self-doubt and depression. Season 2 also explores the concepts of rivalries in far greater detail than in Season 1. In particular, it looks at how rivalries can help bring out the best in each other, and the desire to race against each other alone is enough to inspire people to keep going. There's no better example of this than the relationship between McQueen and Teo, where their desire to triumph over each other was a major motivation for them to overcome their own demons. McQueen is far from the only horse girl to receive this treatment, with many others, such as Nice Nature and Rice Shower, also receiving similar depth, backstories, and characterizations. These rivalries bring out additional subplots which makes each race even more engaging than they already were, even ones which Teo herself was not even running. Each race has its own gripping narrative to them that makes them all memorable. Like Special Week, Teo is a fun, energetic, and goofy character. However, she also has a more mature, determined, and motivated side to her, making her a more complex, multi-layered lead character. She also interacts with the world outside Traken Academy more, which helps make the world Musume in Season 2 even more lived in than Season 1. As such, not only are the races and dramatic moments far more engaging in Season 2, but the slice-of-life moments are also stellar, making Season 2 a fantastic and entertaining ride throughout. While I think the comparisons between how the writing for Special Week and Tokai Teo affect the overall narrative speaks for itself, I think the best example and contrast arises from the last major race which our lead characters face in their respective seasons. Special Week's final race of Season 1 is the Japan Cup. To everyone's surprise, Broyle, who was regarded as one of the best horse girls in the world from France, decided to join the race to show off her strength. This, unexpectedly, gives Special Week a chance at calling herself the best in Japan if she manages to win, despite her race record not really being all that special. Now, the only time we've ever seen Broyle is when she narrowly beat El Condopasa, one of Japan's strongest horse girls, in a race back in episode 9. There is no direct personal connection between Special Week and Broyle. Special Week actually drew with El Condopasa back in the Nippon Derby in episode 5. Now we know that Special Week has been improving since that episode, so we do not really get the sense of how big a difference in power levels there is between Special Week and Broyle. As such, the race between Special Week and Broyle felt somewhat lackluster. In fact, in the race itself, Special Week ended up leading Broyle from start to finish. The lack of any urgency or adversarial challenge made this race feel flat and ultimately forgettable. Now, let's look at Tokai Teo's final race. Tokai Teo faced numerous injuries throughout the course of Season 2, which resulted in her being unable to even race for a whole entire year, let alone win anything. While she was planning on slowly returning back to form, McQueen herself suffers a chronic injury which may potentially force her to retire for good. Teo then promises McQueen that she will win the Arimakien to prove that miracles are still possible, in order to give McQueen the belief and confidence that she can also overcome her injury the same way that Teo did. This significantly raises the stake of the final race for both Teo and McQueen. Teo must win to prove to herself that she is still capable of running at the highest level, while also giving McQueen a shining beacon of hope in her darkest hour. Unfortunately for Teo, her competition are far from pushovers. We have Meijiro Pama, who had won the Arimakien previously, Nice Nature, who has consistently been placed in the top 3 of races, Rice Shower, who had scored 2 massive upset wins in the Kikasho and Tennosho, the later of which was against McQueen, who had actually beaten Teo in the exact same race just a year before. And finally, we have Biwa Hiade, who had never finished lower than 2nd place in all her races and had already beaten many of the others who I mentioned before. Now, the series did an amazing job covering all these characters and accomplishments throughout the series, so we know how much of an underdog Teo is in this scenario, and it will definitely take a miracle for Teo to win. When the race starts, we see Teo in the middle of the pack with a pained look on her face as she struggles to keep pace. This is in sharp contrast to her Nippon Derby race at the start of the season, where she was very comfortable throughout. Heading into the final stretch of the race, Hayahide breaks off from the group, causing everyone to struggle to keep up with her, except for one other, Tokai Teo. The realization that Teo was still in the race against all odds left everyone speechless, while the background music cuts off to complete silence except for Teo's heartbeat, her footsteps, and her heavy breathing. We continue to see the pained look on her face as she continues to give everything she has to try and beat a superior opponent. As she puts all her power into one final push to get the acceleration she needs to finally overtake Hayahide. The music finally picks up into one for a triumph as she sprints towards the finish line. She is overcoming all odds and she will win this one final race to put an end to all the misery and depression that we have been put through for the previous 12 episodes. And goddamn, Uma Musume, you've made me cry so many times the last few episodes. Holy crap. So even now, thinking about how this race went still brings a tear to my eye. We get to see Tokai Teo rise from the darkest moments of her racing career to winning a race against the top horse girls in Japan. This is drama, this is emotion, this is inspiration, and this is what sports is all about. And I know for a fact that this race would not have had this amount of impact if they did not set up Tokai Teo the way they did, and if they did not build up the level of competition that she has been up against. So anyway, I hope this video essay summarizes how having a more character-focused plot can enhance the story being told by making it more engaging and emotional. Now, Uma Musume Season 2 was undoubtedly a dramatic, emotional-filled rollercoaster ride throughout, and made it turn into what I consider to be a masterpiece and one of the best anime series of 2021. Seriously, if you're a fan of sports anime, I highly suggest you check out this series. Even if you're not, I would recommend you to give the first 3 episodes a try at least, just to see how you like it. Anyway, take care all, and I'll see you next time.